What's up guys, Larry here, and today we're going to be installing the OEM heated hand grip kit for the BMW GS 310. And it has all the correct connectors and all the correct throttle tubes and good stuff to work on your bike specifically. Now with the 310 there are two different kits, so make sure you buy the right one. One is specifically made for the fly-by-wire models only, and one set is made for the cable throttles only. So make sure you don't make a mistake in buying the wrong one like I did, costing you more money in the end. Okay, so let's dive into this install. First thing you guys are going to want to do, obviously, is take off all the plastics on the bike. We're going to dive into the windshield, the headlight, and all that stuff. For now, let's concentrate getting these plastics off. Okay, if you haven't taken your plastics off before, just make sure you keep an eye on all the different screw sizes. There are a few, 3 or 4 different longer screws than the rest of them. So I've done this so many times where I kind of know how to put it back together. But if it is your first time, just to keep an eye on that and you'll be good. So now that we got all 22 screws out, let's pull off these plastics. The first time I did it, I was probably overly gentle. Okay, so you may have noticed that I didn't take off my crash bars. With these SRC crash bars, you don't have to. Actually, you're able to get all your plastics off without touching them, which is amazing. We do need to get some of the front fairings and the headlight out, so let's start working on that. Okay, now that the windscreen is off and the headlight protector, we're going to go ahead and start working on the front nose. Okay, so they are in the directions telling you to pull off this fascia that goes around the headlight. I'm going to do my best and try to not and see what happens. If I have to take it off, we will, but it is a pain in the butt. I've taken it off once before to line back up, so we'll see what happens. Again, wrestling with this headlight is a pain. You do have to be extra careful to not break any wires, but at the same time, you need to use a bit of force to pull it out of here, and that's probably why they want you to take this off. So keep that in mind when you're deciding on what you want to do. Right when you get it about right here, this is when the wire connector is going to be at its tightest. So you definitely want to be careful right before you pull it out all the way. Now that you can get your hand in here, this is when it's time to pull out your wire connector, and now your headlight will be free. So it'd be this right here. This is going to be where we connect our heated hand grip to. I do know we need to take off some of these plastic shrouds here on this side and on the other side, so let's get those off. Now we got most of the plastics off that we need to have off. We're going to start basically uninstalling this throttle cable. It kind of runs along the bike, so we will carefully disassemble the throttle wire from the frame and from all the zip ties that are basically running down the bike until it connects to the main harness. If you have grip guards, you got to uninstall the bolt going to the handlebar, and then, you know, obviously if you don't have grip guards, you're just pulling off your end bolt and your weight and all that kind of stuff. A T20 to get this throttle off. So now that's nice and loose, we can start working on the wiring. You have a couple rubber straps going around this bundle of different cables coming up, your brake and your switch and all that kind of stuff. So Let's follow this down and disconnect all of our zip ties. Okay, so I just took the 2 rubber ties off of here. Now there's a main, there's a ton of different zip ties and all sorts of good stuff. Okay, so again, like I said, the wire coming from your throttle, you're gonna follow down and you need to disconnect it from all the zip ties. And it's really hard to get the camera in there. For the most part, if you just follow this wire down as far as you can, you'll be able to basically disconnect all those zip ties and get it free. Okay, quick note before you guys go cutting some zip ties. There is this one tie that is obviously wrapped around the wires. You'll see it. It's pretty obvious. Focus. There we go. And it's basically just a split where it pushes in. So I just used a tool like this to get in between it and pry it out of the frame. And that way you could reuse this when you're finished. You will have that one main plastic clip that we talked about, and then we'll have another zip tie, and then the wire is going to be free for a bit, and then you have this main connection here, and it has a zip tie around that. That one you could also just snip off. Don't cut the red wire. A multitude of other ones. This is going to be really fun getting all new zip ties onto this stuff, so just hold your excitement for the end. Okay. Ooh, that's a tight one. Oh, man. Okay, so this is being held on to a clip on the frame. I think it might be easier to, yeah. So there is a clip on here holding this junction. It's probably easier to pull it out of the frame and then work on it from there. You will need this clip in order to install it on the new one. So we're gonna have to figure out how to get this out, which should look. Okay, so I'm guessing you can still see, but this little piece is a pain in the ass to get out. But basically, when it's in, you have this center column here that needs to be pushed to the left, and that unlocks this piece from coming out. So save this piece, you're gonna need it. Let's see, yeah, okay. So you have this white lock first, and then you're gonna just pry it a little bit. You'll hear it click out, and I believe that's gonna be it. Let's see. Yeah. So just be gentle, all right? That's the name of the game. You got the white lock clip, you pry that up, and then you basically just stick your flathead in between the 2 parts and give it a little twist. Oh my God, this is gonna suck. All right. So I just loosened this wire a little bit, and it kind of gave me the play that I needed. Now, this last little stretch of getting your connector through, if you just spread some wires apart, it looks like I'm going to be able to push it through. Now, notice I'm just pushing. I'm not pulling on the other side at all. I don't want to pull at all. If anything, I'm just rerouting wires just to get a little bit more room to get this clip out of the way. Remember, we're gonna have to do this all again with the new one, so yippee. We're free, and that's good, okay. I'm gonna say we should probably go ahead and just get this next one lined back up and at least close to being in. I know we're gonna want this in the same position. Okay, that's looking really good. Let's run this wire back in the same direction. I do have a lot of extra wiring here from my fog lights, so I am dealing with a little bit of extra bulk. I'm trying to move some of that stuff out of the way for now. I think the hard part's over. That's looking good. Yeah. Okay, so let's connect it, and then you push your lock. Boom. So let's just get our clip on for now. Booyah. So that's in. Okay, zip tie party time. That looks good to me. Nice and sturdy. Okie dokie. This is not what I consider a good time. So this next zip tie, there's basically 2 slots in your overflow canister that it needs to go through. And you'll see that. It's a bit of a puzzle to get it through. I have needle nose pliers right here. I don't know why I'm not using them. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and zip her home. That is a tight, very tight area to work in. So I believe there was a zip tie here as well. It's working, it just keeps getting stuck on something. There we go. Yeah, so then make sure you get all your wires in there. Get your wires. Okay, that's gonna go there. I like the way that all looks. I think there was one more zip tie, but I feel like it may be a little unnecessary. Everything looks good. It doesn't look like it's gonna move around too much. Now we just have left our 2 rubber straps and our plastic zip tie connector type thing that we pulled out. Patience is key here, folks. Just so you can get a glimpse a little better, I'm trying to film as much as I can. It is quite difficult to film and get everything on camera, but this is the connector. I kind of zip tied it so to keep the wires from anything exposed. Zip tied this back together, zip tied that back together, and then it went up through between the intake tunnel. And then zip tied this one here, and then that's the clip there that we reinstalled, the OEM. And then we have our 2 OEM rubber clips, that one. And those are installed. So now all we have left hanging is our heated grip wire, which we will install, I'm sure, into this as well, but I'm just leaving it loose for now. So let's keep on cruising. All right, so the next thing we need to do is remove this grip. But this is just basically on with some grip glue. We're gonna spray some brake cleaner into there and yank her off. I don't know if I need to say this or not, but I am not a motorcycle mechanic whatsoever. I do know my way around a car or two, so I'm kind of learning most of this as I go. Wow, that was really easy. I see holes drilled on the bars already. Now, if that's for the heated hand grip kit, that is going to be so nice that I don't have to drill holes. So as you can see, the new throttle has screws on it because it can't be glued on like a typical grip. These screws, you can see there's those cuts in there. Those are made to kind of self-tap as they go. And you can see on the throttle tube, on the handlebar here, you got holes drilled on both sides. So I'm guessing that we're good to go. Just dropped a screw and it landed in my shoe. How amazing are these mirrors that I can just move them out of the way like that? That's great. All right, I'm feeling a little bit of resistance. What do we say? Back it out and just double check. See what's taking. If the screw is taking the damage, then we need to drill it. We need to probably tap it out, I'm guessing. If the bars are taking the cut, then we're good to go. Oh yeah, the bars are taking the cut. I can see threads. Boys and girls, I think we have liftoff. You're going to want to apply a good amount of pressure. You are cutting into steel, so boom. All right, we got one more screw. Well, this one's going to be harder. I can't see because all the lights are going into my eyes. Okay, let's keep on cruising. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to install this switch here. So the plan is going to be to do one at a time here. That way we don't lose our bar positioning. So here's our switch. We're going to want to run that through. Excuse me, sir. This kind of, my mind's a little blown right now. Why I'm confused is this won't fit through here and you can't get this through the other way. So after some brainstorming, I ended up just heating this plastic bracket with a heat gun slash blowtorch very, very gently until I felt the flexibility give a little bit. And once I got that in, I was able to slide the white connector in through the back, or through the top and out through the back, and kind of open this up a little bit with my fingers as I pushed it through. No damage was done. Everything looks good. Just make sure you have your orientation right. The OEM screws that come with this already have some anti-seize on them. Some lock. Did I just say anti-seize? Loctite. The complete opposite of anti-seize. So the next thing we gotta do is mount our relay. So let me get the camera positioned around here. So I'm having a hard time getting the relay mounted to the back of the ECU, is what I'm guessing this is. So I'm going to take off 2 of the bolts that are holding the ECU on here and see if I can use that little bit of space to help me get what I need. Okay. Amazing. Even with all that space, still such a bear to get on. Okay, so now that we have the relay mounted up behind the ECU here, we're going to take this main harness and we are going to route it up the frame and into the rear of the headlight housing. Okay guys, so you can see here, this is where I mounted the relay. Like I said, you can take these 2 screws out and you can move the ECU forward a little bit. That makes it really easy to get the relay mounted. And once the relay is mounted, you're gonna, this wire below, and then you're gonna run it across the frame up. And then once you get to the stem here, you're gonna go vertical now. You're gonna zip tie one there, and then zip tie the next one up here. When you run the rest of the harness towards the headlight, you're also gonna put those wires in that same zip tie. And then again, another zip tie up top. Now up top you're going to have the 2 connections for each grip. Those are actually going to be outside the headlight housing, and those are going to be zip tied with the rest of the harness. So inside the headlight you're going to be left with the power going to the relay, and this is going to your controller, and this is just a, I don't know exactly what this is, but it's blank. I don't think I need to use it. So those are going to get zip tied together and kind of tuck away up there. There's some extra wire. I'm going to actually just zip tie that up in the corner there, and we'll be pretty good. I just got to zip tie those together. So a few things, just when routing stuff, it's a little silly. I got a ton of wires. I got, you know, the charger, the GPS, the fog lights, now the heated grips. It's a little overwhelming, but I think it's all working so far together. But you know, you got your OEM rubber straps. I'm just kind of tying stuff to that. I got it all mounted and wired together. So once you get like an idea, I was just kind of going back and forth, you know, full cut and everything, making sure everything was gonna act okay. So I don't see anything that I'm worried about when I'm turning those bars. So I think we're in good shape. You know, you will notice you have this movement of wire, which is, for me, it's just not something I'm used to. So it is a little like concerning, but I think that's just how it is, you know. If we look over at the 850, you know, they have it kind of figured out where it's more OEM and wired in. You don't have wires moving around, which is really nice, but you know, it is what it is. So I think we're looking pretty good. We're just getting ready to button everything back up together. I did test it briefly. I didn't have any fuses blow or anything short out, so that's a good sign. A quick tip here, guys. With these clips, I know there's a ton of them on the bike, and you know, often they fall off and get lost and whatnot. So a quick thing to do is just to crimp these ends just a little bit here and here. Don't use cutters, I'm just showing you. And that gives it a lot more hold when you put it on the frame. That way they don't go missing like crazy. So you can see now when I put this on, yeah, I can feel the friction, and it's actually going to stay a lot better, and you don't have to worry about losing them. Alright guys, well, that about wraps up that video. It got a little bit more intense than I expected. Also some surprises like not having to drill the handlebars and whatnot, but other than that, it went pretty good. Alright, so here's our switch. Nice and easy, looks good, OEM, whatever. Everything's moving around nicely and not having any issues with clearance and wires and all that stuff. Overall, you know, it was a pretty easy install, just a little annoying with all the zip ties and all the wiring and all that stuff like that. So if you want to tackle this on your own, I would definitely say go for it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully the next video will be some riding. Actually got some install stuff on the 850 too. So alright guys, talk to you later.